opener, so the Mets wear their road grays for the first time, and look who's here. Season debut for Mr. Conforto, new manager for the Nationals this year. Davey Martinez taking over the reins, and of course they've still got Mr. Scherzer and Mr. Harper. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to D.C. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets open their first road series of the year against the Washington Nationals. The Mets get Michael Conforto back for his opening day today. First time in the lineup since he suffered the shoulder injury that knocked him out late August last year.
Well, you know how I feel about Michael Conforto, the man with the sweet swing. 109 games last year, 373 at-bats. 27 home runs, a 384 on-base percentage in the leadoff role, and playing a terrific center field. Everybody didn't think he was that good defensively. He proved everybody wrong. This is just such a welcome return to this lineup. It just bolsters already this veteran lineup. This is a tough lineup to pitch against.
Conforto will lead off and play center field today. The Mets have won 4 of their first 5 without him. The starters have been good. The bullpen has been better. Yesterday, 5 tremendous innings from the pen against the Phillies.
You know, Gary, I think because of the injuries to the starting pitcher last year, that the bullpen was overlooked in the sense that they really struggled. You see their numbers so far. Lugo and Gazelman, in fact, under 6 innings pitched, they have 11 Ks. The strikeout rate of the bullpen so far this year, 35% of the hitters they're facing, they're striking out.
Mets will hope to get a little more depth from their starter today. We've got a marquee pitching matchup on tap for the first road game of the year for the Mets. Mets and Nats from D.C. All the action coming your way on SNY.
Manager at the helm, so do the Nationals. Mickey Callaway and Davey Martinez exchanging lineup cards for the first time. Home opener for the Nats after they went 4-2 on their season opening road trip, and 4-1 to start their year. And the collision in the division begins today.
Very nice memory, Gary. Davey Martinez and Mickey Callaway had a big hug when they were introduced before the game. They are hip to each other's against pressure.
David Johnson, former bench coach for Joe Madden in Tampa Bay and Chicago. There's the Geico Mets starting lineup, and very comforting for the Mets to see Mr. Conforto in the leadoff spot. They did not go, Mickey Callaway didn't, with the power 1-2 with Conforto and Cespedes, because they don't have Rosario in the lineup today hitting ninth. Instead is Reyes playing shortstop and hitting eighth, so they split up Conforto and Cespedes. And that's the lineup the Mets go with today after sweeping their snow abbreviated 2-game series from the Phillies yesterday afternoon, which some of you might have seen.
Well, the Nationals have, I think, the best, and easy now, Mets fans, I think they have the best 1-2 punch in the game as starting pitchers, with Scherzer, who wins a Cy Young seems every year, and Steven Strasburg, who was 15-4 last year with a 2.52 ERA. Real good in his first start.
Starting his 9th year as a Washington National. Boy, we've all got old quicker.
Keith, we have time. Why don't you take care of the defense?
I will do that. And boy, does time fly. I'll be 65 in October as well. So the Nationals starting infield, as you can see right there. Ryan Zimmerman, that Gold Glove, of course, was at third base. The veteran Kendrick at second. Very talented shortstop Trey Turner. The outfield, Michael Taylor, kind of burst on the scene, had a big breakout year last year. He is the starting center fielder. He one of the many speedsters on this club, and of course Bryce Harper, all everything, off to a terrific start.
Michael Conforto wasn't expected to be back until May the 1st, but he rushed the calendar. Felt great all spring, had enough at bats to feel comfortable with being activated without a rehab stint. The minor league season is just beginning today, so there were no rehab games available in order for Conforto to get back this quickly, but he is champing at the bit and ready to go.
Most of his at-bats were against his teammate, Jason Vargas, the last couple of weeks.
Getting some left-handed reps.
Mickey Callaway said Conforto wanted to come back against the Nationals. Gary illustrated how the Mets suffered, beaten up by the Nationals last year.
So first at bat of the season for Conforto will get the Nats home season started. Michael with 27 home runs last year. His season ended on August the 24th. He would have been a pretty sure bet to become the youngest Met ever to hit 30 or more. And we have a source of conversation now. The home plate umpire Doug Eddings, third base umpire Marty Foster, Mickey Callaway's coming down as well. What's this all about?
I don't know. They're pointing down the left field line, though. Joe West is to the home plate umpire and Mickey Callaway. Maybe a little ground rule change.
Well, you got
at least a question.
A new manager.
Well, you see there's a yellow line over there in the left field corner, which doesn't belong there, right? That looks like a foul line, but it clearly is not.
There's no reason for it to be there, is there?
Well, what happens in the ground rules, I remember in the post, if the ball bounces in fair territory and hits to the left of that yellow line, it's a ground rule double. Hits to the right of it, it's back in play.
I see. First pitch by Strasburg, a fastball for a call strike to Conforto, and we're underway. Michael, 279 last year, 939 OPS. He was the Mets' lone all-star in 2017. And Strasburg throws one by him at 94, and it's 0-2.
Throwing bullets already, but the throw back from the catcher Montero goes past Strasburg. Strasburg last year in the second half, his ERA was 0.86.
And in a year which ended like many Nationals years have in the last half dozen, with a first-round playoff exit, it was Strasburg who kept them alive in Game 4 with maybe the best performance he's ever had against the Cubs. He strikes out Conforto on 3 pitches to start the day.
Well, not a lot of respect there. Just blew him away with 3 right down the middle.
Under it. And there's that launch angle. It's my favorite word in the first inning.
2 words.
Two words.
Remember Strasburg, he does not pitch for the windup anymore. He pitches only from the stretch. He, Yu Darvish, and some others.
As Dribble Cabrera hitting number 2 in the order. Cabrera's hit in 4 straight games, hitting .300 in his first 20 at bats of the season.
He took a caller on opening day, and he's been raking ever since.
And with the infield shift, he shows bunt. Rendon, the only infielder on the left side, and he was playing way off the line. Shortens up maybe a step, but far enough back that if Cabrera gets a bunt down, he could beat it out. And Strasburg runs one inside. Cabrera holds the swing, and it's 1-1. Cabrera has 2 home runs in 16 career at bats against Strasburg, who last year had the lowest home run rate of any starter who made at least 25 starts in a year where more home runs were hit than ever. He was very stingy at giving them up, and he misses with the curveball 2-1.
I mean, if you had to put him, he'd be in the top 5 with all 3 of his pitches: fastball, curveball, changeup.
Cespedes sitting 3rd in the order on deck. Just 13 home runs allowed by Strasburg last year, 1 every 49 at bats. That's hit toward the shift, and a nice play by Turner to get to it, and he throws him out. Trey Turner showing off his range, getting to that sharply hit ball in the middle of the shift.
Well, is it that cold? He's sure moving like it's 90 degrees out there. Look at that. Good range to his left. Very nice play.
You know, Keith, I think we're going to talk a lot about the athleticism and speed of these Nationals offensively. Don't overlook defensively that athleticism and speed also.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Cespedes, who had a first inning home run yesterday at Citi Field, his 2nd of the year. Mets have only hit 3 home runs. Cespedes has 2 of the 3, and he takes the fastball inside from Strasburg. Cespedes has 8 hits and 15 career at bats against Strasburg, but only 1 extra base hit. And he waves at the curveball, and it's 1-1.
I always think that's an overlooked stat. Does your best player hit well against the best pitching? Cespedes is one of those.
It's interesting to hear Cespedes after the game yesterday, and you know, his numbers have been terrific so far, say that he feels out of rhythm, in part because of the fits and starts that the schedule has brought.
Well, nothing worse in the beginning of a season when you have off days and a lot of rainouts, and it looks like this spring is getting ready to be one of these wet, damp, cold springs. I don't know how long this weather's going to hang around, but it's hard for the player, the everyday player, to get into a rhythm when you got these starts and stops. It's particularly tough on the young players.
I mean, maybe more of that coming. Off day tomorrow and a terrible weather forecast for Saturday. So
how about the everyday announcer? Do you like the off day work? Do you like that?
Ron, I heard you're open. Yeah, you haven't missed you haven't skipped a beat.
Here's the 1-2 coming, and Cespedes goes down on the change up by Strasburg to end the inning. Couple of strikeouts for Strasburg. Now it's Jacob DeGrom's turn to take the hill as Strasburg pulls the string on Cespedes. Bryce Harper hitting the 3-hole. The pitcher hitting 8th. I would have thought maybe they'd hit Harper second with the pitcher hitting 8th, but Harper off to a fabulous start. 4 home runs already in his free agent year. Adam Eaton leads off against Jacob DeGrom. And the corners pinch in. Eaton drives one to center field. Conforto won't be able to cut it off, and it goes all the way back to the wall. And Eaton cruises into second base with a first pitch double against Jacob DeGrom.
Well, Eaton coming into this game red hot, hitting over 400. And this is a laser beam. Went right down and got that ball. Outer half of the plate. And this is a rope.
Well, Eaton, who saw his season end against the Mets last year with a bad step at first base in late April that tore his ACL, starts the home season for the Nats with a double against DeGrom.
That's the Toyota first game numbers for Jacob DeGrom. 5-4, I said, against the Nats, but he's won his last 4 decisions here in Washington.
Here's Anthony Rendon. 6 for 28 to start the year, and he takes a strike. Rendon has never had a hit against DeGrom. 0 for 19 in his career, which is remarkable for a hitter of this caliber.
Rendon, the last couple years, and with Dusty Baker, was hitting low in the order in the 6th spot. They moved up with Davey Martinez in that 2-hole. And that's what he does well. He goes the other way. So that's why I think that the thinking here is, number 2 hitter, although I know it's changed in today's game as far as analytics are concerned and more chances to drive in runs in the 2-hole. They put their best hitter there, but I still think it's the most number 2 hole is your table setter. It's got to know how to handle the bat, move the runners.
Well, Rendon may not be their best hitter, but he's pretty good.
Yes.
300 last year, 25 home runs, and he did not do that all in one game against the Mets. It only seemed that way. It's hit sharply through the hole, and Rendon's got a base hit. Turner will be held at third.
Oh.
And is bobbled by Bruce, and Turner will continue on home with the first run of the game. Well, Bob Henley was holding up Turner, but once Bruce couldn't come up with it cleanly, Turner scores easily, and it's 1-0 Washington.
Well, this is what I said. Look at Rendon, completely set. That ball's down the middle, inner half. Ronnie, I got to ask you a question as a pitcher, right-hand hitter up. If he's going that way and you see that he does that, where do you want to pitch him?
You want to throw something soft or outside, not inside. It's easier for a right-handed hitter to hit the ball the other way and the ball in.
So 2 batters in, the Nats have a run on the board. It's a single, no RBI. The run scores on the air by Bruce, and now Bryce Harper.
Finally struck out. He struck out twice against the Braves his last game.
4 home runs through his first 18 at bats of the year, and he takes a fastball for a strike from DeGrom.
He's coming into this season. It seems like Bryce is on a mission. I mean, he's a free agent and all the talk of the next first $40 million player, but he seems like on a mission for an MVP.
He's one of those guys that comes to the park. He wants to play. He's certainly that helps. But he's a guy that comes and plays hard every day.
Well, I don't know if the Nats are going to be able to re-sign Harper, but they just re-signed the guy who can re-sign Harper as they extended the contract of their general manager Mike Rizzo today, only for 2 years, probably less than Rizzo wanted, but I think it was such a topic of conversation here that the Nats wanted to get it done, and they announced it this morning right before the home opener. And the changeup by DeGrom strikes out Harper for the first out.
Well, it's interesting. We've seen the Mets, when they faced Harper in the past, they've gone up and away. They pitched him primarily in, fastballs in, and then that late slider there to put him away.
On the back door with a little drop to it.
So DeGrom has his first out via the strikeout as he gets Harper on 3 pitches. And now Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman, who had a tremendous comeback year last year. 36 home runs, hit .303 after it looked like his career was on the downside. He had a fascinating spring training. in that he did not participate in any Grapefruit League action at his request.
Yeah.
No injury, just didn't want to play against major league pitching. He played only in minor league games.
Interesting.
And you know, the upshot of that is he's off to a slow start. He's only 3 for 18. But imagine if he got off to a great start, then everybody would want to do that. And
no one would participate in the game.
There'd be no more big league players in Grapefruit League games. DeGrom's behind him 2-0. And the comebacker for Jake. Reyes with the turn. 1-6-3 double play. Side retired. So the Nats get an unearned run. DeGrom limits the damage. 1-0 Washington after 1. Second inning, Mets down 1-0. Jay Bruce leads off against Steven Strasburg. And hits the first pitch well to center field. Chasing Taylor back to the track at the wall, and it's off the fence. Bruce hustling to second, and he slides in safely with a first pitch double. Nearly missed his first home run of the year. Bruce, whose error brought in the Washington run, gets a shade of redemption immediately against Strasburg with a double off the fence.
Oh, and this ball was ripped. High fastball out over the plate, just that close from being a home run. And that's against the teeth of the wind, which is blowing in from a left field, almost from foul pole to right. See the flags there, a good strong wind.
So the Mets have the tying run at second with nobody out, and Todd Frazier the batter.
So this is a Mets team as an organization that likes to take pitches, work the at-bats. Can't do that against Strasburg. First good cookie he throws in there, you got to swing at it because he has too many weapons to put you away.
He's also not going to walk many. Less than 2.5 walks per 9 last year.
Good pitch. I think the days of the Mets taking 2-0 and 3-1 that drove us crazy, what, 3-4 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, are over. This team gets up there. They're aggressive.
Well, early in the season, the Mets had the highest on base percentage in the National League. But what they did so effectively last year, and they've done it this year as well, they've cut down on the strikeouts at the plate. There you see the numbers on Strasburg and how effective he's been since the start of last year.
Up there with the Cy Young Award winners.
Now 29 years old, in the second year of a 7-year deal. So he'll be around for the long term. 2-2 to Frazier.
Stung some fastballs early. Did he not have the facial hair last year? Wasn't he clean shaven?
No, he's had it, but it's a little thicker this year.
See what he did after the All-Star break last year was phenomenal. That's tapped right back to Strasburg. He checks Bruce, and the lollipop to first to get Frazier one out.
Well, Strasburg's breaking ball right now really looks like it's got a lot of spin rate on it, Gary.
Would you like to quantify that for me? We talk about 2,800.
Oh, no, I don't want to quantify
3,000.
I'll clarify. It's a tremendous breaking ball.
So you don't want to confuse our viewers with explaining spin rate.
Bruce still at second with one out. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. He has terrific numbers against Strasburg. 7 hits and 15 at bats. And Adrian takes a fastball in the corner for a strike.
Strasburg's first start, he got the win. Went 6 1/3. The left-handers in that game went 7 for 16 off of him in that Reds lineup with a home run.
What does that tell you? Maybe his changeup wasn't as effective.
Yeah, I mean, in this game so far, he's thrown more fastballs to start a game than I've seen him in quite some time. So he likes his fastball. But yeah, I think his changeup is not that effective. And even though he throws awfully hard, his fastball is straight.
In that game in Cincinnati, while the lefties had a field day against them, the righties were just 1 for 11. 0-2, and Gonzalez hits one on the right side. Howie Kendrick playing second base and throws him out as Bruce goes to third, 2 away. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get New York Mets home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. So 2 out, Bruce at third, and here's Kevin Plawecki starting a second straight game. Mickey Callaway was asked about that because he's pretty much been alternating Plawecki and d'Arnaud. And he said he felt Plawecki had a better chance against Strasburg's breaking ball, and he starts him off with a curveball that Montero has to knock down for ball 1.
His exact words were that Plawecki keeps the shoulder in better, so which means that he drives at the pitcher. And Plawecki, his success in spring training and early so far this year is that he's been going to right center field.
Hit one ball very hard yesterday against the Phillies. Also got hit by an Aaron Nola curveball, and Strasburg has started him off with 2 curves in a row and fallen behind 2-0. We'll say Reyes would be next. Change up at his feet, and it's 3-0.
Interesting how he's not attacking Plawecki with Reyes on deck after you guys gave the numbers, especially left-handed hitters in the Reds lineup.
Behind 3-0, Strasburg misses low and in for ball 4, so it's a 4-pitch walk to Plawecki. He threw 1 fastball in that sequence, and that was the last one. And Reyes will bat with runners at first and third.
I think that Strasburg will be kicking himself for that walk. Probably mad at himself. Reyes, a left-hand hitter, switch hitter, of course, but a veteran. I mean, you're going to go after Plawecki because he's the least experienced.
Yeah, you would think.
Did you guys find it as puzzling as I did that Rosario was not on the lineup today?
Yes.
Yeah.
For the second time in the last, what, 3 games? With all the, off days and snow days and everything.
And he's swinging the bat good. And a potential for a rain out tomorrow. Well, there's an off day tomorrow and then a rain out Saturday. The veteran players can handle this start and stops better than the young players who are chomping at the bit. At least I'm speaking for myself.
Yeah. Saturday is supposed to be awful weather here.
Meanwhile, Reyes looking for his first hit of the year and trying to get it in a big spot here. That's down 1-0 in the second. First and third, 2 out.
So if the Mets somehow don't play, they don't play tomorrow, they don't play Saturday. Rosario will play like 1 time in a week.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, and he had that huge triple that he hit over.
Hey, He's swinging the bat good, Gary.
Over the head of the right fielder Nick Williams yesterday, was playing, 10 feet behind the infield dirt. That was a little hard to fathom. But
the numbers say, Gary, you've got to go over the numbers over the long haul.
the funny thing is, though, we've watched Rosario since he came up last year. He's got that kind of pop the other way. So I'm not sure why the numbers would say that he doesn't. At least Gabe Kapler's numbers did.
He's going to have to recheck his algorithms.
And he defended it after the game. He said, we'll do it again.
Oh, balk.
And a balk called on Strasburg, and that'll bring in the tying run.
Wow.
Strasburg, who had trouble throwing to first base on the comebacker earlier in the inning, had a hitch in his giddy up there and balks home a run.
Well, he goes to throw to first base. What he wanted to do was step off. But once he turned, he paused. Once he paused, that's a balk. He should step off and fake the throw if he wanted to.
So the Mets get a gift there. The balk by Strasburg brings in Bruce. Plawecki moves to second with 2 out. 1 and 2 to Reyes. And he flies one foul down the right side.
It almost looked like, I know we didn't, from the center field camera, it's like when he went to throw, like the Zimmerman, the first baseman, maybe wasn't looking. You know, because maybe that's why he held up. I find that hard to believe, but that's what it. I mean, why else would he not throw?
Or he turned and he didn't pick Zimmerman up or something. I don't know.
First balk for Strasburg in 5 years. 2013 was the last time he balked. Nice job by Reyes to foul off that changeup and keep the at bat alive.
Was Zimmerman paying attention? Let's see.
Yeah, he's ready to go.
He was expecting the throw.
Yeah. You know what happened to me once in Tulsa? I wasn't paying attention. One time I was talking to a runner, and Greg Terlecki tried to pick off a runner, hit me right in the chest.
Hit sharply, but Kendrick's right in front of it. He throws out Reyes to end the inning. So the Nats get a run on an error. The Mets get a run on a balk. 1-1 in the second. Some of the filling in at second base while Daniel Murphy recovers from microfracture surgery to his right knee that he had in late October, and Murph is still a few weeks away from being ready, but this was Murph earlier today.
That's a pain in the neck right there doing that.
Remember, Murph had 2 knee surgeries in a Mets uniform.
Kendrick now 34 years old. His season off to a good start. A good year splitting time with the Phillies and the Nats last year as a part-time player.
All those years with the Angels, and then went over to the Dodgers. The Phillies last year got traded mid-season. lifetime .291 hitter.
And he's expanded his repertoire. He used to be just a second baseman. Now he can play the first base, the outfield. Made himself a more versatile player. He just got a piece of that.
Nationals have always done a nice job of having some veteran ball players on the bench. Last year was Kendrick late in the year and Adam Lind. Matt Adams took Adam Lind's place.
Slowly hit. Reyes comes in to get it. And guns down Kendrick, one away.
And we're an inning late here, but we get it in here. The Lexus Met infield. Pilecki with the start behind the plate. Of course, you just look at this veteran infield right here. All four of them with the Gold Glove right there on the right side of your screen, and Mr. Gonzalez. And that's a veteran outfield. I mean, you got to consider Conforto now a veteran. This is a veteran lineup.
Here's Trey Turner hitting 6th in the order. Turner, who broke his wrist last June, cost him a couple of months, but he brings so much speed, a little bit of pop. Now down in the middle of the order. He's 24 years old and still developing, but another potential shortstop star in a game that's full of them now. And the breaking ball on the outside corner. DeGrom goes to the curve to get him looking for the second out.
Well, Turner didn't like the call, but it was a nasty pitch. Watch the movement on this pitch from DeGrom. Middle of the plate and darts right out to that outside corner.
Too close to take. I think that's a pitcher's strike right there.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now the veteran catcher Miguel Montero. And he hits one toward third. Nice play by Frazier on the backhand. And he throws out Montero in a quick inning for DeGrom after the Mets tie the game. Just an 8-pitch 1-2-3 inning. By the way, every 8th grader in America is in Washington this week.
Really?
Yes, every single one. Well, it's kind of a tradition for 8th graders to take their DC trip, and it's usually this time of year. And I think we've seen them all.
I'm going to tomorrow, the off day, go and check out one of the museums here. Not sure which one yet.
1-1 game as we start the third. This is a little inside baseball, or inside the booth, but you know, every profession has the tools of its trade. And in our booth, pens are very important for keeping score. And I only use 2. I use a red one and a black one. And the red one just expired. no more innings.
How long does that go? Full season?
About a year.
About a year.
Gary turned me on to these.
These are the Pinto
pens.
RSVP.
Oh, they
fine
are
points.
fine point for you folks. Perfect for scorekeeping.
Got a new one now.
And you can tell when you're down low like Gary just did. It's brilliant.
If you're not spoiled and you don't want to show off, you just use a bic, like I use.
So my question to you is, do I frame it or do I just toss it?
Toss it.
Yeah.
Just toss it.
I think that's probably.
Give it to Tracy.
That's like
Tracy.
a broken bat, Gary. You know, with the going down with the base hit.
Now does it get authenticated and then go to the team store?
That's right.
1-2 to DeGrom, lifetime .220 hitter. Had a base hit in his first start this year. Michael Conforto on deck. On beginning to this game, an unearned run for the Nats on a Jay Bruce error, and the Mets tie it on a balk by Strasburg. And DeGrom fouls a curveball into the ground. And that was an odd thing with Strasburg and that balk, particularly in light of his throw to first base earlier in the inning on Frazier's comebacker. It makes you wonder whether Strasburg is developing something of an issue about throwing to first base, which we've seen from a number of pitchers over the years.
Well, I think what happens nowadays is that the manager gives a sign to the catcher, who gives a sign to the pitcher to throw over, and I think just lost it. Strasburg in a fog.
2-2 to DeGrom, and he comes inside with a breaking ball, and it's a full count.
Boy, he's pitching DeGrom like he's Lou Gehrig up there. Making him work.
Three-two coming, and he walked him. Second walk given up by Strasburg. This is somewhat reminiscent of Noah Syndergaard's start yesterday, where he had really good stuff, but just was a little off with his command. A lot of foul balls, a lot of deep counts.
A lot of interesting choices on 3-2 counts too. A lot of breaking pitches that just missed.
So DeGrom is aboard. No jacket required. Conforto, the batter, struck out on 3 pitches in his first at bat of the season, and he takes a first pitch changeup for a strike.
Remember, the first at bat, he struck him out on 3 straight fastballs. Second time through, leads him off with a cambio. That's changeup in Espanol, folks.
You're so worldly. Will you be tweeting in Spanish too?
No.
It's amazing to me that he's so wide when he's taking the sign and at the set. How does he generate enough power? It's just an amazing arm.
Into the shift, Kendrick to second for one. Rendon, a wide throw. Zimmerman off the bag, and Conforto is safe. So with the shift, you had Rendon, the third baseman, covering in the middle of the double play, but he made the wide throw that prevents the double play. It goes 4-5, the force on DeGrom.
And there you go. One of the negatives of these extreme shifts is you've got guys playing out of position. Rendon not really used to turning a double play, not a shortstop, and those things, there's the good and the bad of these things.
Nats are going to challenge the call at first base. Davey Martinez believes that Zimmerman stayed on the bag.
Yeah, I thought it was a good call by Marty Foster personally.
I did too.
So they will go to the headsets, and the folks in Chelsea, that's Jeff Nelson's crew and Larry Vanover's crew that are in the replay center. Let's take a look. Did he still have the toe on the bag when the ball hit the glove?
Difficult to tell.
Ball still out of the glove there.
It's close. Very close. Either way, I'm not going to beef on this one. Let's see. Oh, they got an argument. They got an argument.
Yeah.
They've got an argument.
What's interesting, though? I mean, this gets replayed, right? But there was a time when before replay that you would never expect that to be called because it was an errant throw. You just, don't deserve 2 outs. Didn't turn the play correctly. But they might get it anyway.
So it's the difference between 1 out and 1 on with Cabrera coming up, or 2 out and nobody on.
Nice and swift with the decision. That's what they got to be here. Let's see.
And
yes.
they call him out, so the call is overturned, and it's a double play.
I think he was on it. I think that's the correct call.
So it goes as a 4-5-3 double play, and just like that, 2 out and nobody on.
4-5-3-R, Gary.
Oh, 4-5-3. You're right, Gary. Darn it.
So here's Cabrera, which leads to the other tool of our trade, which is the whiteout.
Yeah. Yes. Precisely.
Or in this case, the liquid paper strips.
Me and Keith used the whiteout. I just scribble. I just scribble over it.
Yeah, but you know, you're so precise about what you do. You're going to take that scorecard
right.
and you're going to redo it after the game anyway.
I do.
Which I can't even fathom. Cabrera grounded out his first time up. And he hooks one into right center field. Over comes Taylor to pick it off. And that retires the side. Middle of the third in D.C. Mets and Nats tied 1.
April 15th is a McDonald's.
Mets and Nats tied 1-1 as we go to the bottom of the third. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs. His report today is brought to you by Volkswagen. Steve?
Gary, let's go inside baseball here. And Charlie Blackmon yesterday signed a 6-year, $108 million new deal with the Colorado Rockies. Now, why is that a notable signing? Well, it's because this is a guy that in the past probably would have pushed it to free agency, coming off a monster season, 37 home runs, a 1,000 OPS. But the way this free agent market went, you have to wonder if, in fact, the Rockies maybe overpaid for his value, what it would have been on the open market. 32 years old he will be. He's a guy that has wildly different splits in between Coors Field and on the road, and so you wonder too if these are the start of if this is the start, I should say, of deals like this that may happen with guys pending free agents looking more at extensions rather than staying with the team, or rather than playing it out and then heading towards free agency.
It's hard to turn down $108 million, and no matter if you're 20 or 32 or 38 for that matter, which is I think when the contract runs out. He's a terrific player. If I'm a player, Gary, I want to stay in Denver and hit in that ballpark.
I would also clarify the contract, because it was not 6 guaranteed years. On the back end, it's Reyes, and throws out Strasburg one away. It's 4 years at $77 million, and then 2 player options. So if Blackmon finds that his value is increased after 4 years, he can decline the player options and walk.
Well, tell me, if you were during this winter watching free agency, wouldn't you in spring training have a discussion with your agent and say, hey, listen, I don't really trust where free agency is going. If the team is amenable to maybe getting together and talking about extension, I'm all for it.
I mean, at this point, if you are other than the absolute elite player and your free agency is going to take you past age 32.
That's right.
You have to.
This is a heck of a deal for
take
Blackman.
the money when you can.
He's a heck of a deal for him, and he is a fine player. And you know what, too? He's a guy that keeps himself in great shape. He's got a great attitude. He plays hard.
Taylor flies one out to Bruce and 2-away.
And those are the things that you have to factor in from the management side. Is what is the motivation of the player? If I got someone that wants to be the best that he can be year in, year out, and Blackman is one of those guys. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys, Ronnie, that they get the money and their careers, their numbers go down.
Yeah, I mean, he's a hustler. I don't think there's any issue there. But, you know, Steve made a great point. I mean, his Coors Field numbers are off the charts. 346 lifetime average. His OPS 972 on the road, 266 average, 750 OPS. He's two different players.
I know that. I hear you. And really, it's the only roster that comes to town when I prepare for a game that I look at the home and away stats, because one of Gary's favorite words, they're stark.
Adam Eaton takes the curveball off the plate. It's 2-0. Eaton drove a double on the first pitch. DeGrom threw today and scored the Nationals run.
Boy, two shakes there by DeGrom.
What does that tell you?
He wanted. He didn't want the fastball 2-0. He wanted something different, and he threw a little slider 2-0. You know, the first pitch he threw was a fastball, and Eaton hit that double, so he didn't want to get in that situation again.
Now behind him 3-0. And that's ball 4. First walk given up by DeGrom goes to Eaton with 2 out. And this is going to be interesting because, you know, Eaton is a guy who's always been a speed player, but coming off the torn ACL last year that he suffered against the Mets, he clearly is not running 100% yet, and I don't know whether that's because he can't physically do it or he still has a mental hurdle to get over.
Yeah, it was interesting when he hit that ball. Both you and I, Gary, were thinking he was going to go for a triple, but broke it down. He has that kind of speed.
He has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. He has, however, looked awfully good running after balls in the outfield. So he looks like he still, you know, he still has his speed, but I don't know whether he fully believes in it right now. But he is a guy who is a dynamic player. And Rendon drills one toward the left field corner. That'll go back to the wall. Eaton digging for third as Cespedes pulls it off the wall. They're going to wave him home. Reyes with a relay throw on a hop to Plawecki, and he gets in safely. And the Nats lead 2-1. Looked like the Mets were going to have a really good chance to gun down Eaton at the plate. But he went in the backside head first. Plawecki couldn't get back there. Off the relay by Reyes, and the Nats go in front 2-1.
Well, the relay here is perfect throw into Reyes. Reyes' throw is just enough offline. Inside the line where Plawecki's got a backhand. Very aggressive third base coaching by Bob Henley. And that's a very awkward slide there by Eaton.
Also looked like Plawecki got stuck as he tried to reach, like his glove hit his leg as he tried to reach back. I don't know if he would have gotten him anyway.
You know what it is? He bobbled the ball just ever so much, and that's why he had to re-grip the ball in his glove.
So remember, Rendon with an RBI double to put the Nats back in front, and now Harper goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1.
Perfect relay from Cespedes. The throw just off target. Remember, a catcher's mitt is the most difficult mitt to catch a ball with as far as when you're involved in a play. You know, it's not like a first baseman's mitt or a fielder's mitt. It's tough to make a backhand with a catcher's mitt.
Harper struck out on 3 pitches his first time up.
Keith, you and I are old enough to remember when catchers at the plate would catch the ball with 2 hands and then apply the tap. They would not use just 1 hand.
Let's go back to Eaton for a moment. What did you think watching him go first on?
Lost a step. Yeah, he's absolutely lost a step. In the past, that would have been not even close at home, I think.
I agree with that. And that doesn't mean he won't get that back. DeGrom ahead, 0-2 on Harper. He bounces a curveball, 1-2.
Gary, you made a good point that his game has always been a speed game. So you take that away, what kind of player is he? I mean, he's red hot right now. The last person I think about that changed his entire career was Carl Crawford, who was a speed player, and then he stopped running, and he became a third of the player he was before.
One-two coming. Just missed inside at 96, 2-2. Now DeGrom retired the 8-9 hitters, but then a 4-pitch walk to Eaton. Go back to that 2-0 slider that he threw to Eaton.
I've done this 1,000 times. You give a hitter sometimes too much respect. Should have went after Eaton.
Wound up walking him on 4 pitches and giving up the double to Rendon that produced the go-ahead run. Now 2-2 to Harper. And he goes away with the changeup, and it's 3-2.
It's almost like DeGrom, if this is the blueprint on how the Mets are going to face Harper, have gone completely away of what they used to do, and that was up and away fastballs, make them chase.
Does that game plan still work anymore?
I don't know. When you're throwing 95 plus, I think it works.
Ryan Zimmerman would be next. DeGrom got ahead 0-2. Now a full count to Harper. He's already drawn 9 walks. Fouls that one off his leg.
Good cutter on the inside corner, and barely able to stay in the at bat there. Got a piece of it, a piece of his body too, Mr. Harper.
It's the hardest slider DeGrom's thrown yet at 92. That's almost Syndergaard territory.
Wind shifted a little bit. It's kind of blowing out straight to right now, it looks like.
Wind's supposed to pick up as the day goes along. Seventh pitch of the at bat from DeGrom to Harper. And he drives one into right field. Coming on is Bruce to pick it off and end the inning. Harper hits a seed, but it stayed up for Bruce. Nats take the lead on Rendon's RBI double as Eaton comes crashing home before Plawecki can turn and get him. 2-1 Nats as we go to the 4th in D.C.
Don't miss Scott's Days at your local A.
Mets down to run as we start the fourth. Yoenis Cespedes leads off against Steven Strasburg, who buries a curveball low and away, ball one.
Cespedes with 2 home runs at the home run yesterday's ball game. Hanging breaking ball. He loves that breaking ball. We leave it over the plate, the right-hander.
He drives this one to deep left center field, headed back toward the wall. It's out of here. Yoenis Cespedes with his 3rd home run of the year. He ties up the game again. Well, he says his timing is off. Didn't he look off on that swing?
Literally grooves it then.
A rocket off the bat of Cespedes. 3 home runs in his first 20 at-bats of the year, and it's 2-2.
This home run is most impressive to me. He's pulled his first 2 home runs on hanging breaking balls. This is a down fastball that Strasburg misses, gets too much of the plate, inner half. And that is a rocket.
Well, he's off to the kind of start that he was off to last year before he got hurt. And it really put a crimp in his entire season. His numbers for the year were still pretty good, considering he played only 81 games. But if they can keep him healthy for 6 months, gosh, what he could do.
It's mandatory that you keep him healthy.
Ball's almost out of the strike zone, down.
So he's not playing golf on the road, but that's a golf shot right there.
Practice, practice, practice. Jay Bruce barely missed a home run his first time up, banged one off the wall in left center. And he takes a 2-0 curveball for a strike. Well, the Mets have hit 4 home runs now this season. Cespedes has 3 of the 4. The other one belongs to Travis d'Arnaud. Bruce hit 36 of them last year, combined between the Mets and the Indians. Strasburg runs it full, 3-2.
Jay chased the running fastball away out of the strike zone there.
Todd Frazier on deck. So the second home run that Strasburg's allowed this season in 9 1/3 innings of work. Pulled down to first base, and Zimmerman makes the play on Bruce for the first out. We mentioned that Strasburg in last year's most home run friendly year was the least likely to get burned by the long ball. Season starting a little bit differently in a small sample size.
I mean, home runs affected almost every pitcher on the planet other than maybe Kluber, Strasburg. Even Clayton Kershaw gave up a lot of home runs last year.
Here's Frazier, who had a comebacker his first time up. He takes an ugly hack at a curveball, and it's 0-1.
That's called looking for a fastball, middle end, first pitch, and getting a wicked curveball. Hey, it's only 1 pitch.
Right at the shortstop, Turner. 2 out. The more strikeouts the Mets record, the more you save. Every strikeout thrown by a Mets pitcher during this road trip saves you 1% off select tickets to the upcoming homestand April 13th through the 18th. For more information, visit Mets.com/strikeouts.
What does that 1% come to?
Well, 2% so far, because DeGrom has 2 strikeouts. But you know, you've got this game, Saturday's game, Sunday's game, the 3 games in Miami. There can be a lot of strikeouts.
Well, especially when Mets pitchers are striking out batters.
Well, coming into this game, 61 strikeouts in the first 5 games, which is the 3rd highest total in Major League history.
How about the Phillies? 26 punch-outs in 2 games. I mean, I never check their bats for termites.
Strasburg pulls the string, and it's 0-2 to Gonzalez. 15 of those strikeouts came yesterday.
Were you this funny when we played together? Because you're very funny.
I wasn't funny.
I'm asking. I don't remember you being as funny.
Strasburg goes right back to the changeup to strike out Gonzalez. He was the Prince of Darkness back then. Twitter has changed everything. Cespedes, 1 irons, 1 out of the ballpark. Ties up the game. It's 2-2 in the 4th. Mets have gotten back even twice now for Jacob DeGrom. Ryan Zimmerman leading off the home 4th. It was a big hurdle for DeGrom in the 1st inning after giving up back-to-back hits to start his day. He struck out Harper and then got Zimmerman on a comebacker into a double play to minimize the damage. And he gets another weak ground ball from Zimmerman. Cabrera will handle this one. 1 out. Take a look at the road ahead presented by Tri-State GMC. Day off tomorrow, day game Saturday. ESPN has the Sunday night game. Then we actually get to work 3 days in a row in Miami.
Yes, you do.
Oh, that's right. You're off, Keith.
I have 5 days off in a row. How about that?
So back home to play the Brewers a week from tomorrow night.
The 11th, I've got to go with our esteemed boss, Mr. Kurt Gowdy Jr. to Umpire Central in Chelsea.
Well,
the tour that I missed.
We've preceded you there.
You have a lot of fans there, by the way.
I'm sure I do.
It would be like a politician. You'll be shaking hands and kissing babies.
That's right.
1-1 to Howie Kendrick, who grounded out. It is fascinating to see how they function there, and the technicians and the umpires who are trying to, as quickly as possible, to make the right call.
That's right.
With a blooper, and Cabrera back on the outfield grass to grab it. 2 quick outs for DeGrom in the 4th. Well, the Mets and Nats have established themselves as the elite of this division in alternate scenarios.
Wow.
I mean, the Mets dominated in 15 and won the division. The Nats dominated in 16 and 17 and won the division. Of course, the bugaboo for the Nats has been getting past that division series. Last year, I thought, was the most excruciating of all, because they got to that game 5 against the Cubs. They bring Scherzer out of the bullpen, and all these teams were having great success bringing their aces out of the bullpen, and Scherzer didn't really do much wrong, but they had the strikeout pass ball, error catcher's interference, and then a hit by pitch with the bases loaded in a row, and they blew the lead. In a row, and that's how they blew the lead in game 5.
And then late in the game, when they were trying to make a comeback, Jose Lobaton, who's with the Mets now, their backup catcher, got picked off first from catcher Contreras.
And they lost that game 9-8, and for the 4th time in 6 years they went home in the division series. And you know, in several of those years they've had the lead in the decisive game and been unable to hold it.
And it didn't take them very long. I mean, they fired Dusty Baker in a heartbeat after that series.
Well, we were talking about it before. Davey Martinez now is their 7th manager in their 14th year here in Washington.
And you're talking about some pretty prominent names in that time with Frank Robinson, Davey Johnson, and Dusty Baker. And yet the turnover has been constant. Well, Davey Martinez, much like Mickey Callaway, longtime coach, first-time manager.
Bench coach for many seasons since, well, 2008, I believe, under Joe Madden with the Tampa Bay Rays and the Chicago Cubs.
Was bench coach last year here under Dusty.
Good curveball by DeGrom to strike out Turner for the 2nd time. DeGrom has a 1-2-3 inning as we celebrate Mr. Jefferson. 2-2 going to the 5th. Steven Strasburg, 56 pitches through 4 innings. He's allowed just 2 hits, but both for extra bases. A double by Bruce, a home run for Cespedes. And now Kevin Plawecki leads off in the 5th. Plawecki drew a walk his first time up. And he drives this one into center field for a base hit. So Mickey Callaway thought that Plawecki might be able to handle Strasburg today, and he's on base for the 2nd straight time.
And his reason was it keeps his front shoulder in, and this is a fastball right down the middle. Plawecki right on it.
Remember his first at bat, 2 breaking balls, a 2-0 breaking ball, and this time in his 2nd at bat, Strasburg went right after him first pitch. Plawecki knew it.
By the way, over the first 5.5 games of his managerial career, Mickey has not made too many bad choices. Here's Reyes pulling one foul. I mean, really, he's coming up roses on just about every button he's pushed this first week.
If Reyes can hit one out here, it'll be perfect.
Reyes was at the plate when Strasburg balked in a run in the 2nd, and then he grounded out.
I still feel that Rosario needs to be in here playing. My feeling. Young kid needs to be out there. Get him out of the stable.
Spectrum high-speed pitch. And Strasburg by 1 mile per hour. Well, if there's a game Saturday, the Mets are facing a lefty, Gio Gonzalez, so certainly Rosario will be in the lineup for that one. Scheduled to face Tanner Roark Sunday night. Mets will have Steven Matz on Saturday, Matt Harvey on Sunday. Of course, with rain and snow in the forecast for Saturday, that rotation can be scuttled.
Rain in the morning, you said snow in the afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. It's a 1 o'clock start. I mean, I was watching game being played in the snow yesterday. Fernando Rodney tried to catch a snowflake on his tongue.
Oh, he could have got the lead runner.
Strasburg gets the shore out on Reyes, and again, the soft toss to first base by Strasburg.
Soft toss and didn't even think about throwing the ball to second base where he had an out.
He had a shot to even look.
Yeah.
And then get Reyes.
Ronnie, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't recall Strasburg being a nervous fielder before.
I've never seen it. No, I wouldn't. You know those guys. There's a half dozen of them around the league that have difficulty throwing to bases. I never had Strasburg on that list. Maybe we're going to have to put him on there.
So Plawecki at second with 1 out. DeGrom with a chance to get him in. And he takes fastball for a strike. DeGrom drew a walk his first time up. Nothing but sunshine this afternoon. Temperature in the 40s. Supposed to warm up tomorrow before the snow comes on Saturday. Fouled at the plate, and it's 0-2 to DeGrom.
I was walking out with our director Dan Barr this morning from the hotel, and we both walked right by Jacob going to get a cab. We didn't recognize him with the short hair.
It still takes a little getting used to.
It was like a second double take. It was a triple take, actually.
Strasburg was very deliberate in pitching to DeGrom first time around, and having trouble figuring out what to throw here on 0-2. And Montero is going to pay a visit.
Where is there on the scoreboard or in the ballpark? Where do they show there?
They're right above the left on base on the.
How do you know that, Gary?
The scoreboard. I just looked. You asked, and I looked, and I found it.
Oh, I see it.
And so did Dan Barr, and he's showing you right now.
Mound visits.
Yeah. And that see, it just went from 6 to 5.
He must not be very good at Where's Waldo.
These scoreboards used to be so simplistic when we were kids growing up. It's like a sensory overload.
You want me to show you how to mute the chat on Facebook too? That was the big issue yesterday.
Ronnie, you said the scoreboard in LA is off the charts?
Oh, yeah.
The Dodger Stadium?
Launch angles.
Exit velo.
XFIP. Here's the 0-2. And DeGrom down on strikes. 96 inside from Strasburg to get him.
Up and inside. Gary, good pitch.
4th strikeout for Strasburg. Fascinating looking replay.
I was confused.
It was probably not quite what we intended.
I was ready to do the open again.
Here's Conforto, who has struck out and grounded into double play in his first 2 at-bats of the season.
Oh,
where he takes a first pitch curveball out of the strike zone for ball 1.
And so the umpire yelled inside. I was wondering where that pitch was. He got some grief from first base dugout. Doug Eddings, little rabbit ears.
Doug, usually a pitcher-friendly umpire. And change up in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
I mean, what will happen is the pitch is close. The entire bench a lot of times will yell, "Blue, where was that?" And usually they ignore you, but sometimes, like Doug did right there, gave him an answer.
He's inside, emphatic inside.
Conforto pokes one foul, and it's 1-2. He hasn't seen a fastball yet from Strasburg in this at bat.
Interesting. Gary got him hit the double play and a changeup. First at bat, 3 straight fastballs, struck him out. Second at bat, breaking, let him off with a breaking ball. It was a deeper into the count, but he got him on a sinking change that into a double play, got him to roll it over. And now, first 2 pitches off speed, secondary.
Strasburg up to 70 pitches working in the 4th. And Conforto flies one out to left. Pretty well hit, but Eaton going back over his head, and it's off the fence, bouncing away from Eaton. In to score comes Plawecki. Stopping at second with an RBI double is Michael Conforto. His first hit of the season brings in the go-ahead run, and it's 3-2 New York.
What? It's interesting. Mickey Callaway's asking. He thought that ball was out of the ballpark. I thought it was out of the ballpark.
See if it hits the flower bed and comes back.
Home.
Not sure.
Yeah, it could have hit very on the top of that fence.
Well, they're going to review it. It did hit the top of the fence. The question is whether it went beyond the fence. It certainly didn't appear from that angle.
You know, the fence is built in such a way that you would think if it hit on top of the fence, it would have to skip into the stands or in that flower bed, not come back.
Can I just say that was nice 2-strike hitting by Conforto there, going the other way, and that's displaying his power to the opposite. I think that's a home run, guys. Let's see.
What did it hit?
Oh, I think it back. Oh,
did it hit the back
yeah, I
fence?
think it hit the flowers and back.
If it went in the flowers, then it's a home run.
It went in the flowers. It hit the cement. You know, like skipped it off the cement in the back of the flower bed and came back out.
I think it's a home run.
Well, the umpires, this is not a challenge. This is a home run review initiated by the umpires because they weren't sure. Joe West was the third base umpire, and Mark Ripperger, the second base umpire, who might have had a better angle. And here's where it goes. And it doesn't.
Wow, that's a tough call.
To me, I think it hits in the flower bed, skips up against the cement, and hops out. Like you'd short hop a ball up against the front porch.
Are you certain?
I'm certain.
It looks like it goes over the fence right there. It looks like it embedded over the fence in the flowers. I don't know. I don't know how it came out like that. I know you think it hit the cement. I don't see it going that far back.
Yeah, well,
it's not the angle we had. But anyway,
did we lose any petals there?
If it goes in the flowers, it's a home run. Let's see the umpires have a decision.
I think it's a home run.
And it is a home run. So Michael Conforto gets credit for a 2-run homer, and the Mets have a 2-run lead. So Conforto, who hit 27 home runs last year, his first hit of this season is an opposite field 2-run homer to give the Mets their first lead of the day at 4-2.
Oh, he's a talented kid. Had that much power the opposite way in 2 strikes.
You've got 2 guys on this lineup here that are. You got one superstar in Cespedes, and here is a budding superstar, if not already.
And they've both gone deep today to give the Mets a 2-run lead. And now Cabrera's hit on the foot by that pitch from Strasburg. And he'll go to first base. And Doug Eddings, taking more heat from that Washington dugout, just told them enough.
Well, they're thinking that it changed the whole at bat there, but still, Strasburg was ahead in the count.
Meanwhile, there's concern for Cabrera. Mickey Callaway standing outside the dugout making sure he's okay.
Fastball, oh, it bled out over the middle. He wanted to come in, Ronnie.
And it was down. I think he wanted to throw the same pitch that he threw to DeGrom, up and in.
But still stayed a good 2-strike hitting.
Ruben Amaro asking Cabrera if he's okay. Mickey's staying in the dugout, but showing some concern. But Cabrera's going to hang in there, and Cespedes will step in as this inning continues.
This is a very formidable Met lineup. All you Metsies out there watching. This is a good lineup and very balanced lineup.
And remember, this is a pitcher who gave up only 13 home runs in his 28 starts last year. Lowest home run rate among starting pitchers in baseball, and the Mets have taken him deep twice today.
Well, on a cold day, This will get your puppies barking. Oh. Sorry, Gary. Little sound effects.
It's like an animal reference today.
The question is, what concerns you most? Termites in your bat or the puppy barking?
I'd worry more about the insects.
Sometimes that infestation stays a while.
Move on.
0-2 to Cespedes, and he yanks that one foul. Cespedes hit his 3rd home run of the year and his 2nd in 2 days. A bullet into the seats in left center in the 4th inning, and now Conforto with a 2-run homer here in the 5th. Mets have had just 4 hits, but they've made them count. One-two coming, and Cespedes drives this one, but it's foul.
Look how quick he is inside.
Cespedes' home run last inning.
Ooh, what a tracer.
419 feet. Okay.
112 miles an hour off the bat, the hardest hit home run against Strasburg since they started counting. What they call the StatCast era. Is that 4 years now? Fastball just off the plate, and it's 2-2. No, 2 out and a runner at first. He didn't get that curveball call on the first pitch to Conforto. Got ahead of Conforto, but then gave up the home run and still trying to put the inning to bed. And Cespedes with another big cut.
He's just taking vicious hacks up there. This looks too comfortable.
He's already seen 8 pitches in this at bat from Strasburg. Jay Bruce would be next. And Cespedes chases the curveball for strike 3. And the inning comes to an end, but Michael Conforto in his first game of the season launches his first home run, and the Mets lead 4-2 halfway through. 4-2. Miguel Montero leads off for the Nationals as they send up the lower third of the order. Montero grounded out to third base his first time up. Strasburg is out on deck to bat for himself, and then Michael Taylor in the 9-hole for the Nats in the 5th.
Interesting, that first pitch. Remember Montero's first at bat, made an out on the first pitch. Very few hitters in baseball want to make 2 outs on 2 pitches, so it almost gives you a free strike that second at bat.
Montero looking for his first hit of the year. He's gone 0 for 9. The #1 catcher for the Nats, Matt Wieters, is out with an oblique injury. So Montero is sharing time with Pedro Severino right now.
See Montero arguing with Eddings about that curveball called for a strike. Very interesting. Probably saying our guy didn't get it, but you're giving it to DeGrom.
Yeah, that's it. Call it for both sides.
1-2. Struck him out with a high fastball. Strikeout number 4 for DeGrom, who had 4 double-digit strikeout games against the Nationals last year. It was the first time a Met pitcher had 4 double-digit strikeout games against one team in the same season.
Well, Ronnie, you were talking about pitching upstairs, and I really think in today's game, particularly with the development of the launch angle becoming in vogue, hitters are so vulnerable up in the letters that if you can elevate that fastball as DeGrom did, you're going to have a lot of success.
Which is interesting, of course, as Strasburg strokes one down the right field line foul, because when DeGrom first came up, his great stock in trade was his ability to keep the ball at the knees.
And I still think that you can do that early in the count because that is his foundation of how he pitches.
Right.
But when you get ahead,
right,
go upstairs for the strikeout.
You can't live upstairs. You want to keep the ball down. Always, too, my experience as a hitter, when you had a pitcher that kept the ball down, then all of a sudden elevated, the ball snuck up on you faster, it seemed.
Strasburg slowly grounds it out to Reyes. And quickly there are 2 out. 6 in a row retired by DeGrom. Meanwhile, we've talked a lot about Adam Eaton today and the gruesome injury he suffered last year. This was against the Mets in late April.
I don't know.
As he hits the bag, that left knee blows out, and that was the end of his season. Now, we talked about him running earlier in the game. Now watch on the Conforto home run when he pulls up. Very awkward there, and then goes very slowly after the ball.
I'm wondering if he did a hip flexor or something.
Now Eaton is out on deck, so it's not like he's coming out of the game, but it certainly appeared as though he had a little hitch in his giddy up there.
Always as a player, everyday player, you wanted to get, I said it before, and I think a couple games prior, is that it's cold, it's hard to get loose, and you just want to get through April and get that weather warms up.
1-1 to Michael Taylor, who flied to right his first time up. And he strokes this one down to first. Gonzalez handles it. And DeGrom has himself another 1, 2, 3 innings. 7 in a row retired by Jake. We're through 5 in D.C. with the Mets up 4-2. Well, it turns out Adam Eaton's coming out of this game after all. Brian Goodwin takes over for Eaton in left field as the Mets come up in the 6th against Strasburg, and Jay Bruce pops one up into shallow left. An instant chance for Goodwin coming in. And he snatches it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Strasburg. So it's interesting. Eaton was out on deck. Looked like he was ready to hit, but now he comes out of the game.
I'm thinking maybe they didn't have maybe Goodwin. They're trying to get Goodwin to get on deck. So sometimes even though you're hurt, you go on deck just to hold that spot until someone's ready. You know, the way the ballpark's built today, a guy can take swings. I mean, right up to it's time for him to hit. So probably just holding the spot.
Mr. Hot Frazier is 0 for 2. And he pops up the first pitch. So 2 pitches by Strasburg. Turner calling for this one, and now 2 out. Well, here's Eaton after that play in the field before he came up to bat into the on-deck circle. And clearly there was concern about him as he came in.
Well, that was a great job by our camera people and the people in the truck, because almost every injury we see is due to acceleration. That was due to deceleration in left field when he tried to slow down as he was getting closer to the left field wall.
You know, Keith, that doing the little side bend that he just did there, that you said hip flexor, I think you could be right.
The hip flexor is the one muscle I pulled them all the time or strained them, and they're one of the muscles that they enable you to lift up your legs when you're running. But you can play with that. But it's early in the season. You don't want to take a chance.
Well, the question I would have is, would the hip flexor problem be related at all to the knee?
I would think. I'm not a doctor here or a trainer, but I think it's the cold. And
Gonzalez for the middle, and he sneaks one by and into center field for a base hit. So a 2-out hit for Gonzalez, and the Mets have a base runner. We check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break. Second start for David Price, who was fantastic his first time out for the Red Sox. Boston 5-1 to start the year, lost on opening day, and 5 straight wins since. Here's Plawecki, who's been on base twice with a walk and a single.
Gary, to tell you a little bit about how hips can affect you as a pitcher, because of jamming that landing leg into the mound. After a start, one of my legs would be longer than the other. The right leg would be longer than the left leg, and the trainer would have to pull, like literally pull your leg out of your hip socket, or that's how it felt.
Put you on the stretching machine.
That's right.
I can tell you all
torture machine.
I mean, all my hip flexors are both of them. They're not all. I have 2, like everybody else. They're shot. They're completely shot. But I can still walk.
To Plawecki. Steven Strasburg exploded on the scene in 2010. You see his lifetime numbers. And on his glove, the initials RES twice for both his grandfathers, who share the same initials, both World War II veterans. Strasburg grew up in the San Diego area.
Played for Tony Gwynn, right?
Very military-oriented community, San Diego.
So true.
Yeah, I think so.
And to this day, Stephen will credit Tony Gwynn with his development. You know, he got to San Diego State as an overweight, undermotivated kid and left there the #1 pick in the draft. Seventh pitch coming to Plawecki. And that skips in. Montero couldn't find it for a moment. No advance by Gonzalez. And it's 3-2 to Plawecki, who's putting on another good at bat.
Well, you can talk about all the people that the Nationals have surrounded this team with. As you see Montero, if you keep it in front of you, you got a chance. And that's what he did there. But really having the ability to draft number 1 2 times, getting Strasburg and Harper is pretty good.
Both considered once in a generation type of prospects. 3-2 coming, and he got him with the off-speed pitch. Strasburg picks up his 6th strikeout as he fans Plawecki. Middle of the 6th, still 4-2 New York. For the Nationals, Scherzer and Strasburg, who certainly present quite a 1-2 punch, and the Mets hoping to at least match that with Syndergaard and DeGrom this year.
So if you look around baseball, the Mets, Syndergaard and DeGrom are in the top 5.
It's just a matter of keeping them both on the field for a full season, right?
Yep.
Brian Goodwin up for the first time, and DeGrom quickly ahead of him 0-2. Goodwin did a nice job last year with the injuries that the Nats had to Eaton, and then Harper was out for 6 weeks. He got to play a lot. 278 at bats last year, hit 251, 13 home runs.
Goodwin first started playing a lot because Worth got hurt.
1-2 coming. And the curveball buried. DeGrom throwing more curveballs today than he did in his first start.
Threw a ton of changeups his first start. He's thrown a ton of breaking balls today.
He did not have his breaking ball in his first start. This breaking ball today has a lot more downward tilt.
Rendon and Harper to follow. 2-2 to Goodwin, and he got in on his hands and he fouled it off.
That's also about, Ronnie, when you started over 400 ball games, you go in, how long does it take you to settle into a start and know what you have and what you don't have?
It changes, Keith. You know, it can change within a game. You can start a game and not have a breaking ball, and all of a sudden it shows up in the 5th inning. You're like, where did that come from?
Drilled into right field, and Goodwin has a base hit. Just the 4th hit against DeGrom, and it gets the big hitters up.
The leadoff spot's been a big bear for DeGrom here. Hasn't got, Eden was 1 for 1 with a walk and 2 runs scored.
Well, DeGrom has not been able to figure out Rendon today. He's singled to right and then doubled to left to drive in a run. He had been 0 for 19 in his career against DeGrom before today, but 2 for 2 this afternoon.
There's the defense right there. Big hole. Look at Cabrera up the middle. And I don't like giving all of that much of the right side of the infield to Rendon. I don't like it.
One thing you notice in the outfield when Lagares is not out there, Conforto plays very deep. And rightfully so, I think.
Goodwin can steal the base. Got a pretty good lead. Not running. And DeGrom misses with the changeup and falls behind 2-0.
We're almost a couple hours into this game. This is the most important pitch that DeGrom's going to throw. 2-0 pitch to a dangerous hitter.
Brandon Kinsler getting up in the Nats bullpen. Nats bullpen is quiet. 70th pitch of the day for DeGrom. And it misses. Ball 3. Got Harper looming on deck.
If it gets to 3-1, the question will be, will they let loose Goodwin down 2 runs on a 3-1 count?
Doesn't get to that because he walks Rendon on 4 pitches. And now Harper will come up with the tying runs on base and nobody out.
Now the visit by Plawecki, you've got to kind of delay.
It's a good visit right here to DeGrom by Island. David.
Dave Island, the pitching coach, heading out to talk to DeGrom. No action as yet in the Mets bullpen.
It's the most difficult thing about managing, isn't it? If DeGrom had struggled through the first 5 innings, you might have had Blevins up ready for Harper, but he hadn't. So you just thought that he's going to get through this inning too, and now he's in trouble against the most dangerous hitter.
You know, I wonder sometimes, Ronnie, in this era of it's so dangerous to let a pitcher face the lineup 3rd time around, whether sometimes it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, I think it's definitely seeping into the minds of anyone who takes the mound.
I mean, here was DeGrom cruising, and now all of a sudden struggling as he starts his 3rd time around the batting order.
He struck out Harper in the first at bat, and Harper hit a bullet to right field to Jay Bruce in the second at bat for an out.
So a huge spot here for DeGrom. 1st and 2nd, nobody out, carrying a 2-run lead in the 6th.
Physically, the reason why it's tough to 3rd time through the lineup, the way the game is pitched today, is because they have one way of getting the guy out. So they're going the 3rd time with only one way on how to get a guy out. Batter figures that out.
This with the first pitch fastball. And now up and away, and it's 2-0.
I always felt in a situation like this as a hitter and a right-hand pitcher out there, they need a double play, and they want you to roll it over as a pull the ball as a left-hand hitter. So I always kind of looked for that outside corner and that off-speed pitch or the sinker.
Very surprised to see Robert Gazelman the first man up after he pitched 2 innings yesterday in the Mets bullpen. And now it's 3-0 to Harper, and that's 7 straight out of the strike zone for DeGrom.
Sometimes you go into a game thinking about using your changeup and your breaking pitch a lot, and you lose the foundation, and that is fastball command, and it's eluded DeGrom here.
What do you give him a hit sign? I doubt it, but you could.
And ball 4 to Harper, so back-to-back walks without throwing a single strike to Rendon or Harper, and all of a sudden the bases are loaded with nobody out, and Ryan Zimmerman coming up.
I'm watching Gazelman in the pen. He's throwing maybe 40%.
I don't understand why Gazelman is up today after throwing 2 complete innings yesterday. I mean, it was only 22 pitches, but you would have figured that they would go in a different direction today.
Well, do what you did in the first at bat at Zimmerman. Get a comebacker and go 1, 2, 3.
Conforto playing a very deep center field, pretty much straight up in the outfield and on the infield.
Zimmerman's been up twice at 2 ground balls. Bases loaded, nobody out. And a fastball on the corner. And after 8 straight out of the strike zone, DeGrom finally gets one over.
He's got Zimmerman to roll over, though, on a couple of sliders down and away.
Zimmerman pops one up, shallow right, long run in for Bruce. He gets there, no tag, and Goodwin will stay at third. 1 out.
Oh, that was a hanging slider right there. That was a pitch to hit.
So DeGrom dodges 1 bullet, still 2 more to get. As Howie Kendrick steps in. Kendrick is grounded to short and popped to second, 0 for 2. Goodwin singled, Rendon and Harper walked, and now DeGrom trying to fight his way out of trouble. And Kendrick takes it high.
Got to be a heads up on that right side of the infield. Kendrick in RBI situations always been a guy who likes to go the other way.
And they've got Gonzalez off the line trying to close down that hole.
And you can see Conforto shaded a little bit to the opposite field and center.
On the inside corner with the slider. 1-1.
He's hanging that pitch a lot, though. That ball's just spinning on the inside part, and he hung the one to Zimmerman.
That always was frustrating as a hitter. Pitcher wants to throw that slider away, and he backs it up inside, and you got it, locks you up.
Lecky sets up inside, and Kendrick fouls off the fastball, and now it's 1-2.
Really working upstairs in the strike zone well, DeGrom, with that fastball.
Jake has walked 3, struck out 4. It's ahead on Kendrick, 1-2.
Oh, good eye.
Could not quite get him to bite at the curveball, and it's 2-2.
And DeGrom, Ronnie, he put a little extra on that. He wanted to get him to fish after that.
He did. It was a good pitch, pitcher's pitch. Better job of laying off by Kendrick.
Well, he's been a hard guy to strike out. Now the 2-2. Fouls off the slider.
2 sliders now away. I'd come back up and in with that high fastball. Try to get a strikeout here with the bases loaded.
Two coming. Line to short, caught by Reyes, and everybody gets back. Well, Kendrick hit it hard, but right to Reyes. Good base running all the way around. And now there are 2 out with Trey Turner coming up.
I tell you what, you don't see much of this today. He tomahawked this high fastball, got on top of it. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He really jumped on top of this one.
So DeGrom 2/3 of the way there. Now it's Trey Turner. Bases loaded, 2 out. And he goes after a first pitch fastball and misses. Turner's been up twice, struck out both times, looking in the second, swinging in the fourth.
And he threw that one right by him, Garrett.
And Turner goes after the breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
He got away with one there, too.
So Jake right on the precipice of finding his way through. Goodwin at third, Rendon at second, Harper at first, and 2 out. 0-2 to Turner. Got him looking, side retired. What a job by Jacob DeGrom. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Nats do not score. At his best when things are the toughest. It's been the story of Jacob DeGrom's career. Trey Turner argues too strenuous. Streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Well, Trey Turner ejected. Wilmer Defoe comes in to play shortstop. And the new pitcher for the Nats is Brandon Kinsler.
One of the key trades down the stretch for Mike Rizzo, who got that new 2-year deal, was Brandon Kinsler when he got him from the Twins. He was their closer.
Jose Reyes bluffs a bunt and takes ball one. Brandon Nimmo out on deck to bat for Jacob DeGrom, who found his way through a bases loaded, nobody out jam. He wasn't perfect, but he got the job done.
He did get it done.
Meanwhile, Strasburg out after 6 innings, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits. Davey Martinez did double switch, so he's got Defoe in the 8 hole. He'll be the second man up in the bottom of the inning, and the pitcher hits 6th.
The interesting thing about the trade about Kinsler is that he was their closer. Minnesota. It was almost like they gave up on their wild card quest, and they still made the wild card.
Reyes pops one up in the middle of the infield. Who's going to get it? Zimmerman has the biggest glove. 1 out. Here's your G pitch cast on Trey Turner on that 3rd strike that he disputed.
Well, he's got a gripe.
Certainly had a case. But you know what? And I'm wondering about this with Doug Eddings quickly ejecting Turner. That Washington dugout has been on him ever since that first pitch to Conforto. That was a ball that the Nats thought was a strike.
Yeah, the umpires, there's just certain days that, you know, they're human. They just don't want to hear it sometimes.
Nimmo drives one to deep right field. Back goes Harper over his head, and it's off the fence. Nimmo on his way to second, and he's got himself a pinch hit double. On base 2 times yesterday as a starter, comes off the bench today. First pitch swinging and drills one off the wall for 2 bases.
It's amazing how different his approach is when he's a pinch hitter as opposed to an everyday player.
Most improved young hitter on the Mets ball club. I mean, Conforto came up raking. Brandon has just made great strides. He's got a nice swing.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see if he continues to get playing time now that Conforto is back, and how Mickey Callaway pulls that off.
Well, that's one of the big dilemmas of major league managers have, is keeping your bench involved, and more importantly, making them feel a part of the team. Don't let them just rot on the pine.
Conforto hit an opposite field 2-run homer his last time up, his first hit of the season. Took video review for it to count as the ball went just beyond the top of the fence and into the flower bed.
I'd have to say, if there is a tell with Mickey Callaway, that he will get playing time for everyone. Not afraid to do it.
Here's the only piece that I don't really understand from that standpoint. You now have 5 outfielders who can play, right? I mean, Nimmo brings certain things to the table, and so does Lagares. I was shocked that Jay Bruce was not asked to take any ground balls at first base during spring training. I thought that would create more flexibility in terms of working all of these guys in at some point. Now, last year we saw Jay play some first base with very little notice, but you would have thought that they would at least have him work out there as Conforto draws a walk, just to give themselves the option.
Do you think it would be a sensitive situation that you have a veteran in camp, and while he's trying to make the team, you have another veteran taking balls at first base right behind Gonzalez?
We don't know behind the scenes if, I mean, Mickey Callaway has touted his communication skills. I'm sure he went to Jay Bruce and said, hey, maybe Jay doesn't want to play first.
Do you think that was part of the deal?
I'm speculating here.
I mean, it could have been a part of the conversation before Jay decided to come back, that he said maybe he didn't want to. And I don't know that, but I just find it odd that didn't happen, because it seems as though that creates more flexibility for getting a guy like Nimmo or Lagares into the lineup occasionally by having Jay slide over and play first base. Because, you know, even if Gonzalez has a really good year, he's not going to play 150 games. He's 35 years old. Something that certainly bears watching as the season goes along, particularly if Nimmo continues to produce when he gets the chance. Here's Cabrera, who's 0 for 2. He's also been hit by a pitch. And Kinsler gets ahead of him 0-2.
I like the energy that Brandon brings to this ball club. Oh, interrupted.
Here's your energy. Strong out of the gate.
Sprint horse.
To Cabrera. Cespedes is already homered today, waits on deck. Knocked down by Montero, 2-2. Kinsler, now 33 years old, spent the first 5 years of his career in the National League pitching for Milwaukee. Cabrera's 1 for 2 against Kinsler. Strike 3 call. Two-seamer came back. Cabrera gets a pound in the back from Doug Eddings. It's better than an ejection.
Yes.
Let's check in with Doug Williams for another game break. Now you enter Cespedes with 2 out and 2 on. Cespedes drilled his 3rd home run of the year in the 4th inning. He struck out his other 2 at bats against Strasburg. Bats here with 2 out and 2 on in the 7th. And takes a slider for a strike.
Opening day in Beantown, right, today? Opening day in Philadelphia, St. Louis.
What do you think the introductions were like in Philadelphia today?
Oh, loud. Loud.
Built for Baseball, presented by T-Mobile, the best network for streaming baseball, because your stadium should be where you make it.
Who'd they bring him back in St. Louis throughout the opening day? The first pitch?
Bob Gibson to Tim McCarver. 50-year anniversary of 68.
68. The 1.12 earned run average by Bullet Bob.
That's front line.
Struck out 17 in game 1.
Yep.
Against the Tigers.
Is it Willie Horton or Gates Brown the last
Willie
time?
Horton.
Willie Horton.
Yeah.
Backup slider.
Slider.
Was a new World Series record. He broke Sandy Koufax's mark. Koufax has struck out 15 against the Yankees.
That was quite a Tiger lineup, too. Al Kaline was there and still playing. Willie Horton. Jim Northrup. Dick McAuliffe.
Bill Freehand.
Norm Cash.
Mickey Stanley.
Norm Cash.
Remember, they moved Mickey Stanley to shortstop in the World Series to keep his bat in the lineup and play Northrup in center.
Who was the manager of the Tigers?
Mayo Smith.
Mayo Smith, right. And they had Gates Brown off the bench.
Dick McAuliffe on that team.
The second baseman with the big open stance. I've never seen anybody with a more open stance than him.
Don Wirt.
Don Wirt.
Third
Good call,
baseman.
Gary. Good call. Those were the days, my friend. I thought they'd never end.
You'd sing and dance forever and a day. 1-2 to Cespedes, and the slider off the plate. 2-2. Jay Bruce would be next. Mets were down twice in this game. They tied it on a balk in the second and on Cespedes' home run in the fourth. Took the lead on the Conforto home run in the fifth. And now with DeGrom out of the game, after 6 innings, they'll turn it over to the bullpen with Jake in line for his second win of the year. Jerry Blevins getting ready in the bullpen now, with the left-hand batting Montero due to lead off in the bottom of the seventh.
Just hearing you speak there, did you? Your book comes out in May.
Yes.
Did you do a book on tape?
Yes, I did the audio. It was a whole week in studio.
That's good, because you know I read a draft of your book, and the book is so much in your voice that you would have to have been the guy. I mean, it would have been nice to have had, you know, James Earl Jones or somebody to do it, but it's much more appropriate for you to do it yourself.
I thought I did a brilliant job. I emoted. I hammed it up.
You did.
I like to read aloud when I read a book by myself. And when they have a dialogue in a book, I will act out myself.
Oh, you've got to take some video of that, please.
Victor Hugo, Esmeralda.
I can't believe you just said that out loud.
Cespedes laid off. Boy, that's an unpopular call. First base umpire Marty Foster said he didn't swing. What do you guys think?
I thought he went.
So did I.
Oh,
maybe not.
Yet.
So there's some strong wrists right there.
Yes, sir.
Nimmo and Conforto will be running with 3-2 and 2 out. And Cespedes lays off for ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So by virtue of being able to check his swing on 2-2, now he gets Jay Bruce to the plate with the bases full. Second walk of the inning for Kinsler.
And 4 left-handers in this national bullpen. That is very rare.
And none of them up and available for Bruce in this spot. It's a little surprising.
That's right.
And they had Sammy Solis up earlier in the game, but they leave Kinsler in to face Bruce with the bases loaded and 2 out.
Interesting.
And he fires a fastball in the corner, 0-1.
Bruce only has a couple of hits against Kinsler, but one of them is a home run.
2 for 9.
Chance to break this game wide open.
Nimmo at third, Conforto at second, Cespedes at first with 2 out. Bruce doubled off the fence and left center back in the second. And a call strike, and Bruce didn't think so.
He's calling a high strike today, and it's an old-fashioned high strike. I always felt that this pitch was always a strike, and they stopped calling the high one, but they're starting to come back and calling that high one lately. Of late.
So Kinsler with the chance to get through it. Ahead on Bruce 0-2. And he skips out of the way 1-2. Mets have hit 2 home runs today. They've come awfully close to 2 more. Bruce hit one high up on the fence in left center, and then Nimmo hit one a few moments ago that didn't miss by much off the fence and right.
Now a left-hander up. Too late.
Left-hand hitter Gonzalez 2 batters away. 1-2 coming, and Bruce takes it low. 2-2. Kinsler's have to work awfully hard in this inning.
Yeah, Sammy Solis up in the bullpen. Kinsler's got to make it happen here. He can't go to 3-2. Makes it too dangerous.
Fifth pitch of the inning now for Kinsler. 2-2 with the bases full. And Bruce wastes that one away.
Jay's gotten off to a slow start because they've been crowding him inside, not letting him get his hands extended. He likes the ball out over the plate.
And he takes that inside, ball 3. Well, they crowd him. But that time Kinsler missing. And now the merry-go-round will be in motion with 3-2 and 2 out. Nimmo, Conforto, and Cespedes get set to run. Bruce has worked his way back from 0-2 to 3-2. And Jay cracks one out to right center field. Back in the gap goes Taylor at the wall. It's out of here. Jay Bruce with a grand slam for his first home run of the season. And the Mets now lead it 8-2.
He had to make it happen on 2-2. Once you get to 3-2, you got to give in a little bit to Jay, and that ball was leaked back over the middle of the plate.
I felt he should have doubled up, come back inside, and he was just going out to his comfort zone away and got it up and down Broadway.
6th career grand slam for Bruce, and he got all of that.
Well, the thing about Jay is that he is a pull hitter by nature, but he's so strong. The ball he pulls is the ball away from him. He doesn't like to be crowded, and that ball's away.
36 home runs last year, his first of 2018, and it scores 4.
Well, the Mets are saying hello, we're here.
That's 3rd home run of the day. Cespedes, Conforto, and now Bruce accounting for 7 of the 8 runs. And Frazier gets one in the air to shallow left. Goodwin coming in. And he puts it away to retire the side, but not before the Jay Bruce grand slam breaks this game open. 7th inning stretch in D.C. 8-2 New York.
Space West has it.
release a spitting image of his father? Wow.
New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cash for Life from the New York Lottery. You could win $1,000 a day for life. By Empire City Casino, current jackpot is now over $1 million. You could be the next big winner. And by the Lincoln Motor Company. We're looking forward to that special tonight. Los Mets in the Dominican, and Steve Gelbs was in the Dominican Republic to report on that. And Steve, we've gotten a taste for some of the stories in that special tonight, but give us a little more sense of what we're going to see.
Yeah, you know, this is something that we're very excited about. What an eye-opening trip it was. And the basic premise behind going down to the Dominican Republic was simple. This is a country that is half the population of New York State, yet year in, year out in Major League Baseball, about 10% of rosters are made up of Dominican natives. It's a staggering number. So the question was, how and why do they produce such volume of players? And it really, at a simple state, the simple answer is that the nation is baseball crazy. Everywhere you go, you see this incredible passion that I've never seen anywhere else before. But it's also a poor nation. About a third of the population lives in poverty. You saw some of the images of Jeurys Familia's childhood home. And so for these kids, it is such a driving force, a carrot at the end of the stick, baseball, Major League Baseball, something that can hopefully get their families out of their circumstance.
Well, it's just it's an amazing thing that that such a small country has produced such a huge number of not only Major League Baseball players, but professional baseball players at every level, and great stars as well.
And now seems like every single year a Hall of Fame player. Pedro Martinez, Vladimir Guerrero, and I'm always not marvel, but I think it's so special when they go back after they've been elected to the Hall of Fame, gotten the votes, and how the whole nation kind of pours out into the streets for them as they make the trek around the country.
Montero down on strikes, so Blevins comes in and gets his first man, one down in the home seventh. Steve, of all the things that you saw when you were down in the Dominican Republic, what stood out to you the most?
Well, it had to be Jeurys Familia's childhood home, and listening to his story. I don't want to give too much away, but like I said, you saw those images. The bathroom was a hole in the backyard, and you speak to his parents. They worked about 4 to 5 jobs at one time total and earned a combined what equated to about $175 per month. So to see where he came from and to see what an incredible driving force helping his parents and getting them out of their circumstance was a remarkable experience, and to see where he's come from and where he is today.
Dominican Republic pastime, maybe.
Wilmer Difo up for the first time. You know, it's interesting if you go back generations and think about the players who populated Major League Baseball back, say, in the 30s and 40s. You know, a lot of them came from meager circumstances within this country.
That's right.
And, you know, opportunity is a wonderful thing for segments of the population that may feel as though they don't have a lot of other ways out of poverty. And, you know, we've seen that in other sports as well, but the way that this has become baseball has become a worldwide phenomenon, I think that the Dominican Republic is really at the forefront of that right now.
And also, like you said, mirroring things that have happened in the game many years ago, whether it was Gehrig and, you know, players like Gehrig who were first generation Americans.
2-2 from Blevins, and Difo takes it high. Where Difo came in the game when Trey Turner was ejected, arguing a call third strike in the 6th inning. Michael Taylor hitting 9th in the order, waiting on deck. Jacob DeGrom, 86 pitches over 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. And never more important than what he did in the 6th inning, carrying a 2-run lead, bases loaded, nobody out, and found his way through.
Well, he's only given up an earned run in both of his starts, and I would have to say he's not on top of his game yet.
Right. And he said that after his first start, and I'm sure he'll say it again today.
I thought he threw better today, much better than his first start.
Blevins strikes out Difo. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jerry. day off tomorrow for the Mets and Nats. They'll get back together Saturday, weather permitting. Steven Matz against Gio Gonzalez in a battle of lefties. We'll have it for you on SNY. Pre-game coverage begins at 12:30. Well, Blevins has gotten his 2 men. He will take his exit. Robert Gazelman comes in. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back. Robert Gazelman right back to work. They see Michael Taylor with 2 out.
Well, it's a lot of work for Gazelman after a couple innings yesterday for a guy that really is finding his sea legs in the bullpen. But
Bit surprised.
6-run lead.
The one thing about Robert, and another guy that's made great strides, is I think he's found confidence in that sinker. And he's got a good one, and that's what he should focus on. Pound those right-hand hitters with that hard sinker.
Taylor is fly out and grounded out today, 0 for 2. Mets 8 runs, 7 hits. The Nationals 2 runs, 4 hits. The Mets have hit 3 home runs today, accounting for 7 of their 8 runs, more like their 2017 offense.
Yeah.
Last year, nearly half the Mets runs came via the home run. But what a more formidable lineup the Mets present with Michael Conforto back in there.
Well, it just it changes everything. It's just, you know, he's a guy at the top of the lineup that can get on base, but he's got pop.
Foul tip held by Plawecki, strike 3. So Gazelman finishes off the inning with a strikeout of Taylor. And we go to the 8th with the Mets up 8-2. It's not often that we get Shirley Bassey on our broadcast.
Very
That
nice.
was what a voice.
All you millennials out there. James Bond, Sean Connery, Goldfinger.
Wah, wah, wah.
He loves only gold.
New battery in the game for the Nats. Ryan Madsen will pitch. Pedro Severino will catch. As we start the 8th inning, Adrian Gonzalez 1 for 3 on the day. Ryan Madsen now 37 years old. Still going. There's your Spectrum Mets box score. Home run ball today. Cespedes solo shot in the 4th. Conforto 2-1 homer to put the Mets in front of the 5th. Bruce a grand slam to break it open in the 7th.
Oh, make your general manager, Mr. Alderson, smile.
And make the other general manager happy he got his contract extension today.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, it's been a disappointing home opener for the Nats so far, but a very happy day for Michael Conforto, his first big league game of the season. And Gonzalez down on the high fastball by Madsen, still throwing hard. First strikeout. Starts the 8th inning.
Madsen's had quite a career. Saw him in his prime when he was in a Philadelphia Philly uniform, then went out to Oakland. In the meantime, had gotten injured in between Philadelphia and Oakland, and now here in the fall of his career with the Nationals.
You know, he has had a really good career. Did some starting earlier in his career and found his niche in the bullpen. But I will always remember the 16th inning at Shea Stadium. Carlos Beltran taking him deep.
That's the first time I heard you do a double. It's out of here.
Well, if I remember correctly, Madsen was like in his 7th inning of relief.
He was,
because he had been a starter and he was just transitioning to the bullpen. 1-1 to Plawecki.
and he was outstanding until that home run by Beltran.
But his, you know, you look at his stats year by year, and you know he missed time because he was hurt for 3 years. But both before and after the injury, he has been incredibly effective. Popped up behind the bag at second, and Defoe is there to get it to retire Plawecki 2 out. And if you're wondering why is Davey Martinez using his frontline relievers in an 8-2 game, well, day off tomorrow, possible weather problems on Saturday, so that makes some degree of sense.
I think it's a good move. I still would have. I'm on Keith's side. With all those left-handers, I would have had a left-hander ready for Jay Bruce.
For sure. Here's Reyes, who's 0 for 3.
Even if you have one lefty in the bullpen, you had. I think you had to have that lefty ready for Bruce.
Yeah, the game was manageable until that swing.
Well, new lessons for a new manager to learn. I mean, you know, Davey Martinez was a bench coach for a long time, but it's different when you're the guy in charge.
No, absolutely.
By the way, he was a really good hitter.
He's a good player, over 1,500 hits.
Reyes takes one the other way toward the left field line, just foul.
Played with a lot of different teams.
I remember with the
Expos and the Cubs, I remember him with, and he had a sweet swing. He used to choke up on the bat, had a little bit of pop, close to 100 home runs, I think, in his career. But he was good player off the bench. He was like a fourth outfielder.
Very soft-spoken, hardly said 2 words. He was very quiet.
Reyes toward the middle. On the backhand, Kendrick, and the quick throw just in time to get Jose to end the inning. So Madsen puts up a 1-2-3, top of the 8th. Middle of the 8th, 8-2 New York. Well, Hansel Robles burst back on the scene yesterday in rather stunning fashion. Your Coors Light refreshing finish.
Well, he had a good fastball in yesterday's game. He had 3 strikeouts, 1 on the knees, 1 running away there to J.P. Crawford, then threw it right by Kingery.
Did not start the year in the major leagues. Brought up when Anthony Swarzak went on the disabled list. And he was brought into a fairly close game yesterday, but against the lower third of the batting order, and it was a perfect spot for him.
Oh, but nevertheless, a tight situation.
I was talking to Mickey Callaway today. He said they basically have told him the quick pitch is done. No more quick pitching. Find yourself a rhythm and stick with it. You don't have to trick people. Your stuff's good enough.
Yeah.
Brian Goodwin up for the second time, and he takes a little bit high for ball 1.
This Callaway guy in Ireland, they know what they're doing with pitchers, I'll tell you.
Well, it's interesting how things develop, right? A few years ago, LaTroy Hawkins came to the Mets, brought the quick pitch with him, taught it to several different pitchers who had success with it. But then, Robles was unsuccessful with it. So, time to move on.
He's always had a great arm.
Well,
okay, he's got a rubber arm. I've liked his stuff, but for some reason he tends to overthrow. Sorry to interrupt, Ronnie.
No. Well, there's 2 ways of presenting things, and I think that's part of communication, right? There's a way of saying, no more quick pitch, your stuff's good enough. Another way to present it is that you're not good enough to quick pitch. You know what I mean? Like you need to just do one thing. Make it simple.
And simply on the outside corner for strike 3 called. So 4 batters, 4 strikeouts in the major leagues this year for Hansel Robles.
Amazing when you're pitching for your major league life.
By the way, Met pitchers have now struck out the last 5 Nationals batters. DeGrom struck out Turner to end his stint. Levin struck out his 2 batters. Gazelman struck out his only batter. And now Robles starts with a strikeout of Goodwin. Here's Rendon, who's not been retired all day. Single, double, walk, RBI. It's not quite 6 for 6 with 3 homers and 10 RBIs, but a good day for Rendon on an April day against the Mets. He pulls this one down the left field line, and he's got himself another base hit. Played nicely off the wall by Cespedes. He's got a chance at Rendon with a good throw, but it comes up wide of the bag. And Rendon pulls in with his second double of the day.
Well, ironically, Robles gets hurt on a slider. Hangs it.
I hate to compare players. When I watch Rendon, he reminds me a little bit of Paul Molitor when he's up at the plate. Quick bat, good hands. I mean, a little definitely different form, but he just there's no one way to pitch him.
Now Harper is 0 for 2 and a walk. So the first base runner allowed by Robles is a double for Rendon, and he sails a fastball away to Harper, ball 1. Changeup misses, 2-0. And that'll get Seth Lugo going in the Mets bullpen. The Mets swingmen have been untouchable. Lugo and Gazelman. If there are no postponements, the Mets won't need a 5th starter until next Wednesday, the last game in Miami. And I don't think Jason Vargas is going to be ready by then, so it would probably be Lugo or Gazelman to get the spot start in that game. Or you can just call it a bullpen game. That's what teams are doing now.
That's right. Tampa Bay.
But I guess the point is that there's plenty of depth now with those guys working steadily out of the bullpen, but available to stretch out if they need to. 2-2 to Harper. Fouled away the fastball at 97.
Problem with the bullpen game is that sometimes it can stretch out your bullpen that you are shorthanded for a couple of days.
Well, the good thing about it next week is if it does fall on Wednesday, and again it depends on the weather this weekend, then you'll have an off day right after that, so that will help. And you know, I'm not sure how long Vargas could need. His biggest deal right now is that the broken bone was in his glove hand. He's got to be able to field his position. 2-2 coming, and the changeup outside to Harper. 3-2.
You know, listening to Mickey Callaway and the Mets, it really sounds like Vargas can pitch if he had to.
Right.
Now he just can't field.
Yeah, his arm's fine.
Yeah,
it's his glove hand, and you need to be able to defend yourself, particularly when you throw, you know, 87 miles an hour.
I mean, that's part of his game, being able to field his position.
Yep. Rendon at second with 1 out. 3-2 to Harper. And Bryce Stout tips it for strike 3. Off-speed pitch from Robles, and he has his second strikeout.
I don't know. It's hard. Was that a running fastball?
No, changeup.
Changeup. Okay.
Really?
90. Yeah.
Wow.
So another double-digit strikeout performance for the Mets staff. DeGrom struck out 5. The bullpen's now struck out 5. And here's Zimmerman, who's 0 for 3 today. That is now 71 strikeouts in 6 games for the Mets staff.
We got some chicken on the grill. That's healthy. On the grill.
That's good. Sweet.
If we actually have a game here Saturday, we're sending out for that.
Yeah, I might have to put chili on that.
Are we allowed to
Are we allowed to what?
to eat during the game?
No, it was before the game, maybe.
Did you watch the broadcast yesterday? The face cast yesterday?
Yes, in very little I watched, to be honest with you.
Let's just say that the guy who sat in your regular chair did a lot of consuming.
He did?
Of comestibles.
Did he make a mess?
I don't want to say.
You'll see when you get back.
2-1 to Zimmerman, and the slider misses inside. 3-1. What do we got there? The fried dough. Grilled chicken, and now you can have your unhealthy.
Let's go for some.
Big cut by Zimmerman. 3-2.
Wow. Good Lord.
I think this goes in the category of wanting to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah. That's like having a real bad fish and chips.
And keep you away from funnel cake for life. 3-2 is popped up foul, backing out of play.
Get that with a couple of stints. Wow. Jeez.
Is that like side order of stents?
Yeah.
Three-two from Robles, and Zimmerman is down on strikes. Another 3 strikeout performance for Hansel Robles in the 8th inning. 6 strikeouts in 2 innings. 8-2
Fastballs.
book out loud. Driver on the majors presented by Audi. Yanni Chirino's first major league start, pitched 5 scoreless innings, matched up against David Price. That game now in the bottom of the 6th, no score. And the Phillies in their home opener get a Maikel Franco 2 RBI hit, and they lead the Marlins. Sean Doolittle on to pitch in the top of the 9th. Wilmer Flores in to pinch hit.
Well, we've seen now all the acquisitions late in the season. You know, the bullpen struggled for the Nationals early in the year. They went out and got Kinsler and then Madsen and Doolittle from the A's.
Doolittle took over as the Nationals closer. Off to a bit of a rough start this year. A check swing grounder by Flores. Zimmerman ranges wide.
Nice.
And Doolittle gets over to cover for the first down.
Nice feed.
So 1 out and nobody on, and now Michael Conforto. Conforto didn't have his day start particularly well. Struck out on 3 pitches against Strasburg to start the game. Grounded into a double play his second at bat. But then in the 5th launched a 2-run opposite field home run to put the Mets in front. And then he walked and scored in front of Bruce's grand slam in the 7th. Pretty good first day of the year for Conforto. He takes the fastball outside from Doolittle. Sean Doolittle, 31 years old, one of 2 Virginia Cavaliers on this Washington roster.
That's right.
Wonder where they were when UMBC shocked the world.
Oh boy.
Zimmerman, of course, the other one. Greatest upset ever. Not only did they beat the #1 seed, they beat them by 20. The Retrievers.
The Retrievers. I mean, that's what, to me, that's what makes that tournament special, is that stuff can happen.
Well, this year that tournament was full of lower seeds advancing, and a lot of upsets. But inevitably, the best team won.
Yes, they did. Full count to Conforto. Doolittle hopping off the mound like he thought he had that pitch. Did they have the parade today for Villanova the same day as the Phillies opener?
I don't know.
That would be strong competition. Of course, you know, Villanova's not strictly a Philly team. They're a mainline team.
Exactly.
Conforto down on strikes. That's the 2nd out of the inning.
I don't even think they let graffiti in the streets of Villanova.
They're very particular there about drawing the line at the city line.
It's a very posh neighborhood.
I mean, you know, in the Big 5, the city schools, Temple, LaSalle, St. Joe's.
Right.
Then you got the Ivy Leaguers, Penn, and then the mainliners, Villanova. Cabrera 0 for 3, and he takes a fastball for a strike.
Doolittle's one of those few closers that really doesn't throw anything more than a fastball, almost 90% fastballs.
Looks like Seth Lugo is going to get the bottom of the 9th. There's the off-speed pitch, and he's ahead on Cabrera, 1-2. Line the other way, and Cabrera's got his first hit of the afternoon. A 2-out single. Mets put up their 8th hit of the day.
Stays on top of that high ball.
I'm sorry, I'm old-fashioned here. I am not into launch angle, folks. I like to see guys getting on top of high pitches like that.
So now Cespedes, who homered back in the 4th inning, he's also walked and scored 1 for 3. And a half swing and a miss. This was back in the 4th.
Well, 3rd home run of the year. Gary called it a 1-iron. I can incline to agree. Boy, you went down and got that pitch.
Now Cespedes facing his former Oakland teammate, and he takes high, 1-1. Doolittle first came up with the A's in 2012. Facing Cespedes for the first time. Not only is Ryan Zimmerman not holding Cabrera on, he's playing about as far away from first base as I've ever seen a guy play with a runner on.
It's kind of like an ethics rule here. You know, a big lead, you don't take that extra base.
But then shouldn't you also not play 25 feet off the line if you don't want the guy to go?
You should be a little closer to him and then push off. As the pitcher breaks from the belt from his stretch to throw, then you move out into that position. It's called 9th inning and being a little lazy.
Well, now Cabrera's running anyway because it's 3-2. And Cespedes goes down swinging to end the inning. Couple of strikeouts for Doolittle, and that pushes this game into the bottom of the 9th. Mets trying to go to 5-1 on the year. Seth Lugo will try and close it out. Beautiful Lincoln Memorial. And a reminder, tonight 6:30 on SNY, it's Los Mets baseball in the Dominican Republic. It's definitely a special worth watching. Seth Lugo on to try and get the final 3 outs. Howie Kendrick leads off in the last of the 9th.
We see Seth Lugo's numbers so far just outstanding in that one game that he pitched. 4 strikeouts and 2 perfect innings.
It was against the Phillies day before yesterday. And he's quickly ahead on Kendrick, 0-2. Pitcher spot is due up next. Matt Adams is the last man left on the Nationals bench, and he's come out on deck. And a late swing by Kendrick. Met pitchers have struck out 11 today. DeGrom went the first 6 innings, struck out 5. The bullpen has struck out 6 in 2 innings. You can do better than that, but it's hard to do better than that.
Just keep throwing up zeros. 5 shutout innings yesterday. Trying to get 3 today.
One-two coming, and Kendrick fouls off another fastball from Lugo. Jerry Blevins struck out his 2 hitters. Robert Gazelman struck out his only hitter. Hansel Robles gave up the double to Rendon, but that was sandwiched by 3 strikeouts for Robles for the 2nd straight day. Strikeouts are coming fast and furious. Kendrick, though, a hard man to fan. He keeps the at-bat alive. Coming up tonight on Geico Sports 9 at 11 o'clock. Much more on the Mets and their fast start. The NFL draft looms and the Masters begins.
Russ Relkin let me know that Tiger Woods finished at +1 today.
What's the leaderboard?
Around 4 under, I think. You know,
I can turn around on with 1 round.
Is it as cold there as it is here?
I doubt it.
No, it's 70s. Beautiful.
The azaleas.
Grounded toward the hole. Reyes can't get to it. I think Reyes thought that Frazier was going to go after that ball, and they're kind of looking at each other. In any event, it winds up being a base hit for Kendrick.
It's like when Frazier stopped, so did Reyes.
Reyes way up the middle. No way Frazier can get to that ball. Just under the glove.
So now Matt Adams will be the pinch hitter. And that's between pinch hitters and ejections, so have used their entire bench. Adams, who spent last year first in St. Louis and then in Atlanta. Landing is that big left-hand bat off the bench in Washington. They always seem to have one of those. They have Clint Robinson for a while.
Clint Robinson, Adam Lind already mentioned last year. Yep.
Before they had that, they had big right-handed bat
Tyler Moore.
Yeah. Right. Curveball misses from Lugo, 1-2. I mean, Adams was so good last year in Atlanta that for a while they moved Freddie Freeman to third base just to accommodate him.
When he cooled off, Freddie went back to his original position.
But he hit 19 home runs last year, less than 300 at bats. He lifts one out to right. Bruce looking through the sunglasses, and that's the first out on the last of the 9th. So 1 out and 1 on. And now Pedro Severino comes up for the first time. He took over behind the plate for Montero. And Severino takes a slider for a strike.
The Mets bullpen is yet on the verge of yet another outstanding performance.
Well, we came on the air today talking about Conforto and the bullpen, and they have both been front and center today. Conforto in his season debut, a 2-run homer to put the Mets in front, and the bullpen stellar yet again.
Well, Hansel Robles with 3 more strikeouts. Fantastic.
Lugo misses with a curveball. 2-1. Former Defoe, the on-deck batter for the Nats. Sellout crowd. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about here in D.C. in their home opener. Tomorrow is an off day for these two teams, scheduled to play Saturday afternoon with an ominous forecast, and then Sunday night in the final game of the series. Mets then move on to Miami. The nice thing about playing in Miami this early in the year is that we might get some games with the roof open.
I've never done a game there with the roof open.
Well, the new ownership has said they intend to open the roof more.
Good.
Than was the case under the prior ownership. Three-two, and Severino stays alive. Severino's had cups of coffee with the Nats 4 straight years now. A total of 64 big league at bats over 4 seasons. Those are some small cups of coffee, more like espresso. 3-2, and he fouls back another one.
I first heard of Severino. Remember when the Buffalo, their frontline catcher got hurt. Wilson Ramos got hurt, and Severino had to come up late in the year a couple of seasons ago. Great defensive tools, great arm. See if he can hit enough.
8th pitch of the at bat coming from Lugo, but first time is asked for. Kendrick at first and 1 out. And Severino flies one out to left. Cespedes shading his eyes. 2 out. Well, it's a laugher now, but in the 6th inning, the Mets were clinging to a 2-run lead. That's at the bases loaded, nobody out.
Well, a little slider to Zimmerman. He pops it up. Then Kendrick. That was the big out. It was a line drive. Great at bat by Kendrick, but right to Reyes. And then the generous call here by Eddings, and Turner was struck out.
Struck out and then thrown out. Bruce added the grand slam the next half inning, and the Mets were on their way. The runner goes. Strike called to Defoe. Kendrick moves up on defensive indifference. Lugo misses down with a curveball, 1-1. Well, the Mets, who lost 13 of 19 to the Nats last year, coming in here for their first meeting of the year with the defending division champs and showing well. Never know what a season will bring. This rivalry has tended to be lopsided one way or the other over the last few years. Rounded down to first. Easy play for Gonzalez, and the ball game is over. The Mets spoiled the Nationals home opener by winning their 3rd in a row. Mickey Callaway has won 5 of 6, matching Joe Torre and Davey Johnson, who did the same in their managerial tenure with the Mets. As the Mets continue their fast start, using the long ball today, Michael Conforto, Yoenis Cespedes, and Jay Bruce all going deep in an 8-2 Mets victory.
Well, the big blow, and it's good to see Conforto back, for folks. A 2-run home run by Conforto that broke a 2-2 tie. A lead the Mets would never relinquish. A 2-run shot, but the big blow was Jay Bruce, the grand slam in the 7th that blew the game open, and the Mets just continue along with the home run by Cespedes, continue to roll. 5-1.
Well, and for Jacob DeGrom, you got to feel like this might be a magical year. 2-0 now after 2 starts.